What if I told you that 5 common foods sitting in your refrigerator right now are significantly increasing your cancer risk, and you probably eat at least one of them this week? I'm going to identify the exact 5 foods that research from major cancer centers proves increase cancer risk, specifically in adults over 60. And I'll give you simple, healthier alternatives you can start using today. Here's something that might shock you. The 3rd food on this list was reclassified by the World Health Organization as a Group 1 carcinogen, the same category as cigarettes. Yet it's in nearly every American refrigerator, and most seniors eat it multiple times per week without realizing the danger. Lorraine, a 71-year-old from Ohio, ate what she thought was a perfectly healthy lunch every single day. A turkey sandwich with low-fat mayonnaise, a side of pickles, and a diet soda. When her doctor reviewed her eating habits during a routine cancer screening appointment, he immediately identified 3 items in her daily lunch that were significantly increasing her colorectal cancer risk. Lorraine changed those 3 foods immediately, and 6 months later, she felt genuinely relieved, knowing she'd eliminated major risk factors she didn't even know existed. Food 1. Processed deli meats and hot dogs. The turkey, ham, or roast beef you buy from the deli counter isn't the healthy protein choice you think it is. The World Health Organization's International Agency for Research on Cancer officially classified processed meats as Group 1 carcinogens in 2015. This puts them in the exact same category as tobacco smoking and asbestos exposure. Research from Harvard School of Public Health shows that eating just 50 grams of processed meat daily, which is about 2 slices of deli meat, increases your risk of colorectal cancer by 18% in older adults. This isn't a small or theoretical risk. This is documented, reproducible scientific evidence from multiple large population studies conducted across different countries and different demographics. Processed meats contain nitrates and nitrites, which are chemicals used for preservation, and to maintain that appealing pink color you see in deli turkey, ham, and hot dogs. When you eat these meats, the nitrates and nitrites combine with naturally occurring compounds in your digestive system to form substances called nitrosamines, which are potent carcinogens that directly damage the DNA in your cells. Your digestive system at age 60 or older is already more vulnerable to cancer than it was when you were younger, because your cellular repair mechanisms slow down with age, and accumulated damage from years of exposure makes cells more susceptible to becoming cancerous. Every deli sandwich you eat exposes you to these cancer-causing compounds, and the exposure accumulates over time, steadily increasing your risk with each meal. Continuing to eat deli sandwiches 3 or 4 times per week, grabbing hot dogs at summer barbecues, or having bologna as a quick snack significantly elevates your risk of colorectal cancer, stomach cancer, and pancreatic cancer. All cancers that are already more common after age 60 and that have serious mortality rates if not caught early. The convenience of grabbing pre-sliced meat from the refrigerator simply isn't worth the documented cancer risk you're accepting every time you make that sandwich. Replace processed deli meats with freshly cooked chicken breast that you prepare at home and slice for sandwiches throughout the week. Use canned wild-caught salmon or tuna, eat hard-boiled eggs for protein, or spread hummus on your sandwich instead of meat. These alternatives provide the protein and satisfaction you want without exposing you to carcinogenic preservatives. Floyd from Michigan ate turkey sandwiches for lunch every single day for 20 years, believing he was making a healthy choice by avoiding red meat. After learning about the World Health Organization classification, he started cooking a rotisserie chicken every Sunday and slicing it for his weekly sandwiches. He hasn't missed deli meat once and actually prefers the fresh taste. Check your refrigerator today. Throw out those packages of deli meat and replace them this week with safer protein sources that don't carry documented cancer risks. Food 2. Diet sodas and artificially sweetened drinks. Are you drinking diet soda daily, thinking you're making a healthier choice than regular soda? Research from the Mayo Clinic and multiple studies published in the Journal of the American Medical Association show that artificial sweeteners, particularly aspartame and saccharin, have been linked to increased cancer risk in large population studies. Diet soda consumption is specifically associated with higher rates of bladder cancer and lymphoma in adults over 60, and newer research suggests these artificial chemicals may also increase risk for leukemia and certain brain tumors. The mechanism isn't completely understood yet, but researchers believe artificial sweeteners alter gut bacteria in ways that promote chronic inflammation and cellular changes that can lead to cancer over time. Your body metabolizes artificial sweeteners differently at age 60 than it did at age 30. Your liver and kidneys process chemicals more slowly as you age, which means artificial sweeteners and their breakdown products stay in your system longer and potentially accumulate in higher concentrations in your tissues. Some research indicates that long-term exposure to these chemicals may damage cellular DNA directly, while other studies show they disrupt normal metabolic processes in ways that increase cancer risk indirectly. Either way, the evidence is concerning enough that many major health organizations now recommend avoiding artificial sweeteners, especially for older adults who have had decades of exposure and whose bodies are less able to repair cellular damage. Drinking diet sodas daily exposes you to these artificial sweeteners repeatedly, and the cancer risk isn't the only problem. These chemicals also disrupt your gut microbiome, which affects everything from your immune function to your mental health. Ironically, diet sodas may actually increase your appetite and lead to weight gain rather than helping you lose weight, completely defeating the purpose of choosing diet in the first place. Switch immediately to plain water with fresh lemon or lime, unsweetened iced tea, either hot or cold, sparkling water with just a splash of 100% fruit juice for flavor, or water infused with cucumber slices and fresh mint leaves. These alternatives satisfy your craving for something flavorful without exposing you to artificial chemicals linked to cancer. Beatrice from Texas drank 3 diet sodas every single day for decades, genuinely believing she was avoiding sugar and making a healthy choice. When she learned about the cancer links, she switched to sparkling water with lemon and lost her diet soda cravings completely within 2 weeks, while eliminating her daily exposure to artificial sweeteners. Pour those diet sodas down the drain today and stock your refrigerator with naturally flavored water alternatives starting right now. Food 3. Leftover foods stored for more than 3 to 4 days. Those leftovers from last week that still look fine and smell okay might be producing invisible cancer-causing toxins that you can't see, smell, or taste. Research from Johns Hopkins and food safety guidelines from the Centers for Disease Control specifically warn that aging immune systems are significantly more vulnerable to foodborne toxins and that certain molds and bacteria that grow on refrigerated foods produce aflatoxins and other carcinogenic compounds even before the food shows any visible signs of spoilage. Your nose and eyes cannot detect these toxins. Food can look perfectly normal, smell perfectly fine, and still contain dangerous levels of cancer-causing compounds that have been growing silently in your refrigerator for days. Aflatoxins, which are produced by molds that grow on improperly stored foods, are among the most potent carcinogens known to science and are directly linked to liver cancer. Your liver at age 60 or older processes these toxins far less efficiently than it did when you were younger, which means more of the toxic compounds stay in your system longer and cause more cellular damage before your body can eliminate them. Even low-level repeated exposure to aflatoxins and other food-based toxins accumulates over months and years, steadily increasing your cancer risk with each exposure. The 3 to 4 day guideline for leftovers isn't arbitrary or overly cautious. It's based on scientific understanding of how quickly dangerous bacteria and molds begin producing toxins even in cold refrigerator temperatures. Eating week-old leftovers or keeping food stored beyond safe timeframes exposes you to bacterial toxins and molds that specifically increase liver cancer and stomach cancer risk. Your aging body simply cannot handle these toxins the way it could when you were younger. Your detoxification systems are slower, your immune system is less effective at identifying and destroying damaged cells, and your cellular repair mechanisms don't work as efficiently as they once did. Label every single leftover container with the date you made the food using a permanent marker or masking tape. Throw out anything older than 3 to 4 days without exception, regardless of how it looks or smells. And follow this rule strictly. When in doubt, throw it out rather than risk exposing yourself to invisible toxins that could be causing cellular damage. Chester from Iowa got severe food poisoning from week-old chili that looked and smelled perfectly fine. His doctor explained that repeated exposure to slightly spoiled foods was putting him at serious cancer risk even when he didn't get obviously sick. Chester now strictly follows the 3-day rule for all leftovers and hasn't had food poisoning since. Check your refrigerator right now, read those dates, or try to remember when you made each item, and throw out anything older than 4 days. Do this today before you eat another potentially contaminated meal. Food 4. Regular bacon and breakfast sausage. Your weekend bacon and eggs tradition is exposing you to some of the highest concentrations of cancer-causing compounds you can possibly eat. Research from Harvard Medical School and the American Institute for Cancer Research shows that bacon and breakfast sausages contain not only the same carcinogenic nitrates found in deli meats, but also form additional dangerous compounds called heterocyclic amines and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons when you cook them at high temperatures in a frying pan or on a grill. These compounds are directly linked to colorectal cancer and stomach cancer, and eating bacon or sausage just 2 to 3 times per week significantly increases your cancer risk, especially in adults over 60 whose cellular repair mechanisms are already declining with age. The problem with bacon specifically is that it combines multiple cancer-causing factors all at once. It's preserved with nitrates, it's very high in fat, which promotes cancer growth, and it's typically cooked at high temperatures, which creates those additional carcinogenic compounds I mentioned. When you eat bacon, you're not just exposing yourself to one cancer-causing substance. You're exposing yourself to multiple known carcinogens simultaneously, and they work together to damage your cellular DNA more effectively than any single compound would alone. The crispy, slightly charred edges that many people love are actually where the highest concentrations of heterocyclic amines form during cooking. Every bite of that crispy bacon contains compounds that researchers have proven cause cancer in laboratory studies and that are associated with higher cancer rates in human population studies. Continuing your bacon habit means regularly exposing your digestive system to multiple documented carcinogens at once. And this isn't about one bite or one meal causing cancer. It's about repeated exposure over weeks, months, and years that accumulates cellular damage faster than your aging body can repair it. Eventually, that accumulated damage causes normal cells to become cancerous cells, and by the time cancer is detected, it's often already advanced. Replace bacon immediately with Canadian bacon, which is actually lean ham that isn't processed with the same nitrate-heavy methods as regular bacon. Choose turkey bacon from brands that specifically label their products as nitrate-free and nitrite-free, or switch entirely to vegetable-based breakfast proteins like sautéed mushrooms that have a meaty texture, spinach and tomato scrambles, or roasted vegetables with your eggs. Vivian from Georgia loved her Sunday bacon breakfast tradition until her oncologist showed her the specific research linking processed breakfast meats to her type of cancer risk. She switched to Canadian bacon and mushroom scrambles, seasoned with smoked paprika for that savory flavor, and she honestly doesn't feel deprived at all. Remove that package of bacon from your refrigerator this week and find a safer breakfast option that doesn't expose you to multiple carcinogens every time you eat. Your colon and stomach will thank you. Food 5. High-sodium pickles and fermented foods. Those pickles, sauerkraut, and pickled vegetables you eat with every meal are linked to stomach cancer in ways most doctors don't have time to discuss during brief appointments. Research from the Mayo Clinic and extensive studies from Asian countries where pickled food consumption is traditionally very high show that regular consumption of high-sodium pickled and fermented foods significantly increases stomach cancer risk. The danger comes from two separate mechanisms working together. First, the extremely high salt content damages and irritates your stomach lining, making it more vulnerable to infection by H. pylori bacteria and more susceptible to cancer-causing compounds. Second, the pickling and fermentation processes themselves create carcinogenic nitrosamines, especially in commercially prepared pickled products that use certain preservation methods. High salt intake doesn't just raise your blood pressure, it chronically damages the protective mucus layer of your stomach lining, essentially creating tiny injuries that never fully heal when you're eating high-sodium foods daily. This constant irritation and damage creates the perfect environment for cancer to develop, because damaged cells are far more likely to become cancerous than healthy cells. And your stomach is constantly trying to repair damage while being exposed to more salt and more pickled foods every single day. The nitrosamines formed during fermentation and pickling are the same cancer-causing compounds found in processed meats. So you're essentially getting a double dose of carcinogenic exposure when you eat pickles with your deli sandwich. Exactly what Lorraine from our opening story was doing every single day. Eating pickles, pickled vegetables, or heavily fermented foods daily chronically irritates your stomach lining and exposes you to compounds that directly damage the DNA in your stomach cells. Stomach cancer rates are dramatically higher in populations that consume these foods regularly throughout their lives, and the risk increases with age as accumulated damage makes cells more vulnerable. The amount of salt in just 3 or 4 pickle spears exceeds the recommended daily sodium limit for seniors. And when you're eating pickles daily, you're bombarding your stomach with salt levels that cause measurable cellular damage. Limit pickled foods strictly to once per week maximum as a small condiment rather than a daily side dish. Choose low-sodium versions whenever possible and check labels carefully. And replace your pickle habit with fresh cucumber slices, fresh peppers, or other fresh vegetables that give you the same satisfying crunch and flavor without the cancer risk. Luther from Wisconsin ate dill pickles with every single lunch for 40 years. Considering them a harmless vegetable side dish. When he was diagnosed with serious stomach issues, his gastroenterologist made the connection to his daily pickle consumption and explained the documented cancer risk that comes from that level of salt and fermented food exposure. Luther switched to fresh vegetables, and his stomach problems improved dramatically within weeks. Take those jars of pickles out of your refrigerator today and limit them to occasional treats, maybe once a week, rather than daily staples that expose you to cancer-causing compounds every single day. These 5 foods, processed deli meats and hot dogs, diet sodas with artificial sweeteners, old leftovers kept beyond safe storage times, bacon and breakfast sausage, and high-sodium pickled foods, all carry well-documented cancer risks that are particularly concerning for adults over 60. Your body at this age is more vulnerable to these carcinogenic compounds and less able to repair the cellular damage they cause. Removing these foods from your refrigerator doesn't mean giving up flavor, satisfaction, or convenience. It means making informed choices based on real science from respected cancer research institutions like Harvard, Johns Hopkins, the Mayo Clinic, and the World Health Organization. The healthier alternatives I've shared throughout this video taste just as good as the foods you're replacing, cost about the same or less, and are just as convenient once you adjust your shopping habits. Within weeks of making these 5 changes, you'll feel genuinely confident knowing you've eliminated major cancer risk factors from your daily diet. And that confidence and peace of mind are worth more than any sandwich or soda. Which of these 5 foods is currently sitting in your refrigerator right now? Be completely honest in the comments, because most of us have at least 3 of them, and there's no judgment here. We're all learning together. If this information opened your eyes to cancer risks you genuinely didn't know about, click that like button and subscribe to this channel so you never miss science-based health information that could literally save your life. This is the kind of detailed information your doctor often doesn't have time to explain during a brief appointment, but it's information you absolutely need to protect your health. Share this video immediately with every person over 60 you care about, especially those who eat deli sandwiches regularly, drink diet soda daily, or love their bacon on weekends. This information could genuinely prevent cancer in someone you love. Don't wait another day. Hit that share button right now and help protect the health of your friends and family members who need to hear this message.